Hi guys, welcome to our first virtual class. I'm going to wait for some people to join here before we get started. If you have any particular topics that you want to hear about, type them in the comments so that we can cover them today. And we're hoping to get this out to you probably once a month on various different topics about real estate. So anything that you want to know when it comes to qualifying to buy a home, if you're going to sell a home to buy a home, anything and everything that you want to know about real estate, we're here for you.
That's right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Edgar Salcido. I am with NFM Lending, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to prepare to purchase a home. It's a very important question. It's a question that, Adrena gets asked a lot. She's on the field a lot, maybe perhaps the grocery store. You let somebody know that, hey, I'm a real estate agent, and what am I, the first question is, oh, great, I'd like to buy a home. Well, what should I do? And that's a question that it's a great question, and a lot of people don't know what the first steps are. Adrena has done a great job as far as making that transition and facilitating over to us. So now we want to go on ahead and pass that information down to you guys. One of the first things, Adrena, that you always recommend is, looking at finances. Let's finding out what your buying power is, your budgets are, how strong your credit is at the moment. If we have to fix it, sometimes we have to do some credit repair. Some credit repair, guys, is very easy. It's just a matter of maybe perhaps dropping a couple of dollars on your credit cards. Sometimes it can get really intensive, and we have great partners that we have that can help you with getting your credit repair and putting you on a game plan. And that's the key word, game plan. Sometimes buying a home, it's not about the now. It's about putting that plan in place so that we can get you to the promised land, which is buying a home.
And the plan is the most important part. And I think that people tend to get discouraged if it's not today and we say you need to do something in order to qualify. But like Edgar said, most times it's something really simple, and anything that's happened in your credit history is not permanent. So that's the number one takeaway I hope that you get today, is that your situation currently is not your permanent situation. And even if it's not today, we for sure can get you there if you get on a plan and you stick to that.
That's right. No, Adrena, I love the way that you mentioned not a permanent, because it isn't. We've all made mistakes, guys. I mean, I think we can all go back and laugh about, like, man, I wish high school would have taught us, or school spent a little bit more information on real life solutions of what we're going to face once we leave. And credit is something that was never talked about.
Never.
Our parents probably never used credit, and if they did, they mismanaged it. How many of us have been through that, where or perhaps we didn't have that financial foothold in our home, and we've inherited our parents' mess, right? We are just as undisciplined with our finances as they were, and then we find ourselves renting for an X amount of time. Adrena, I've shared this story. My wife and I rented for about 10 years prior to us buying a home, and I can tell you that it was about $80,000, I think, if I add the lowest first studio I had for $300 to the last apartment I was renting at the time for $900, which to me was like I was drowning, right? It was the most expensive apartment I've ever owned at the time. And we know that now, that was 10 plus years ago, rents are double that right now for the same type of apartment I was renting back then.
It's true. And rents are just going up and up, and they're actually increasing quicker right now than the real estate market is. I think that the last study I read was that rents were up 60%. And I just don't see that, changing, for the fact that Arizona is one of the most growing places, and people are moving here by the day. And as we are acquiring more and more jobs coming here, you're going to have more and more people coming here, and it's getting more expensive to rent. So definitely buying is an investment into your future, and it will help you to become more financially sound as well.
Correct. Arizona is a very prosperous state. And because of that, our local government has done a great job of bringing the jobs here. And, right now with the quarantine, one of the big questions that we've been asked is, hey, is the market going to crash, or the values going down? On the contrary, we've seen the absolute opposite of that reaction, because people are leaving the bad states. They were leaving already to begin with. This might have already just been the last straw for them to just go on ahead and, check out. We're done. We're, this month alone, our pipeline is full of people from out of state that are going to be, relocating to Arizona, either as a second home, just to get their feet wet in here. Hey, I'm not ready to quit my job, but I'm buying. I'm ready. I want to have something lined up for for when I do move down there. Or people are just flat out saying, hey, you know what? I've relocated and I'm cashing out on my real estate that I've had down here. And people that are moving here, Adrina, they are buying.
Yes.
They're not coming here to rent because they know the benefits. They're obviously cashing out where they're at. They're bringing that equity down here, and it's hard to compete when you have a prepared other shopper on the other line. So that's where we want to make this segment, is to prepare you as a home buyer to be that strong candidate to purchase a home when the time comes.
Yeah, you guys, if you have questions, please type them in so that we can get your particular questions answered today. That is kind of the point of this too, is that it's interactive and you get to participate, and no question is, not good enough or stupid. Questions are what, prepare us, and are a lot of times whatever you're thinking or what you're asking is also what other people want to know too. So we definitely want to hear from you. Type those questions in or PM us if you want, or text me if you have my number and you feel more comfortable with that, because we want to help you get your situation right.
That's correct. And your conversations with us privately, guys, are completely confidential. We want to help, and don't wait till the last minute where you get a letter from your landlord that, hey, I've decided to sell my house, get out. Have a game plan in place. I think the first step is to talking to a lender. After you meet Adrina first, or you talk to a real estate agent, or you got that itch, hey, I'm done, I'm tired of renting, is you want to get your finances right. We hope that you call us, but if you don't call us, your first step is always going to be, hey, talk to a lender. And why is it important to talk to a lender? For one, is we want to make sure that a couple of things are set. When you buy a home, there's a lot of components to the credit factor of it. There's one, your credit score is not always the one and done. Hey, well, I have a great credit score, I should be able to buy a home. Not necessarily. Maybe your credit is relatively new, right? You just got your credit card a few months ago, and hey, all of a sudden I check my Credit Karma and I'm a 760. Oh my gosh, I have the best credit in the world. But that credit line's only $300, and you've only had it 7 months. You may not still be able to buy a home just because your credit score is that high. The lender may require more trade lines. They may require for you to have more seasoned credit. And that's where the lender comes in to guide you in that direction of it. The other component is your job. How stable is your job? Have you been there for 2+ years? Do you have a 2-year history? Perhaps you've been changing jobs. You're in an industry that has been volatile. And hey, I've been jumping around, Edgar, but every time I jump, I'm getting another $1 raise, or I'm getting a $2 raise. Or maybe perhaps you're just in one of those industries where work runs out. We've done, work for union workers where the union assigns them to, a carpentry job that they're done. They're in a carpenter's unit, and then they go work at a different, job, and they just have moved around. So you want to make sure that you have all those game pieces in place before you go looking for a home, and before your lease runs out. You may say, hey, Edgar, well, I have 6 months. I'll call you when I'm 60 days out.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, the more prepared you are, the better. And if you just signed a brand new lease and you're going to be there for a year, this is the exact moment that you need to get in touch with the lender, making that plan for when that lease is up, because sometimes we do need more time. Not necessarily is it always, slam dunk, or it could better prepare you on a budget. Like, it might not even be that you need credit time, but maybe speaking with Edgar will help you know what to expect. And I'll get together with you also, and we'll talk about what out-of-pocket expenses you're going to have at the beginning of the process and the various steps throughout the process, so that for this year while you're renting, you have been saving. Because that's one of the things I think that, I come in contact with most, is that I'll talk to someone, they'll get into a rental, and then they don't do anything for the next 12 months, and they expect the situation to be different when they come to qualify at the end of those 12 months. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes they're just not prepared because they didn't save the money that they needed, or they didn't know what credit things they need. And that's another thing that I think is important, is that sometimes we think we know what's best for us, like in terms of credit. And I get a lot of people who are like, I'm repairing my credit on my own and I know exactly what to do. But what ends up happening is what you are removing from your credit will sometimes hinder you, right?
That's correct. Sometimes maybe you may remove the oldest trade line. That actually happened to me. It happened to me at the beginning of the quarantine. I got a letter stating that, hey, my very first credit card, I hadn't used it. It was locked up in the safe, threw it away in there. I had gotten other credit cards with better rewards. That was just the initial one I've gotten. But it was my oldest trade line. It was my oldest trade line. It was seasoned, like 10 years. And I did not use it. They were like, hey, if you don't use this card in 60 days, We're going to close it out. They send me another letter at like 45 days. I didn't use it. They send me another letter at 30. Eventually, I got a closed letter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never used my card. I called them immediately, and they're like, hey, I'm sorry, you lost. And sure enough, I saw my credit score just plummet because I did not use something that I should have used. Even if it was $5, I should have just gone to Circle K and bought a pack of beef jerky and called it a day and just let it hit my credit report, then pay it off, so I didn't pay any interest. But so it's little things like that even us, as seasoned people in the industry, can sometimes make those mistakes that can come back and affect us. So I'm going to write some things on the board right here behind us, guys. We're going to start off as far as the steps and the components on why it's important. I'm going to start off right here with writing. We're going to want to start off, and let me know if you guys can see this here. One of them is step one, steps. It's going to be number one. Talk to a lender. Talk to a lender. Let's identify. Can you guys see this? I don't think the green's gonna finish up too good. We may have to do a different ink. I think that one's a little.
I think there's a little of a glare from the light.
There's a little bit of a glare. Okay. So the step one is lender. Let me see if I can rewrite it here. See if it'll show better. Does that show?
Looks
a little better. Okay. You're going to want to talk to a lender as far as on the first step. Reason being is, one, let's find out what your credit looks like, right? Credit. Under credit, guys, in most traditional, in the perfect world, guys, you can start looking for homes with a credit score as minimum as 580. Okay, is where FHA, and we'll get into different loan programs in other of these videos, but is where the credit score starts. Now, I can tell you the closer you are to that number, the more challenges you're going to have. Just because you're a 580 doesn't mean you can qualify. They're going to ask you for more questions, more verifications. You're just going to have to go through more hoops. So our job is to take a look at this, find out where you're at, and try to get it higher from there, okay? If you're interested for, let's say, down payment assistance programs, right? We're going to want to have a score of 640 and up, okay? 640 plus. If you're looking, we'll put right here, down payment assistance. Down payment assistance. Okay. You're going to want a score of 640 and up if you're looking to qualify on one of those programs. Hey, Edgar, I'd like to get into one of those first-time home buyer programs. We need to hit this target. Now, another component, guys, that's important when it comes to talking to a lender is going to be income. How much income can we verify? Your income is your budget. Hey, what's my budget? How much can I qualify? Maybe you're looking online, you're like, man, I'd love to buy this $280,000 home, that I see out there. It's got the pool, it's got the landscape done, it's in a school district that perhaps I want my kids to go. Well, what does it take for you to buy that home? That's where your income comes in, that we want to take a look at so that we can make sure that, hey, once we hand Adrena your pre-qualification letter, we are looking at what's realistic for you. Perhaps you're looking at a $280,000 home, or we're showing you a $280,000 home, and you qualify for a 340, a much nicer home, a much nicer community. That you say, hey, Edgar, how come you're not showing me homes like that? Well, that's important where your income comes in. We want to make sure that we do things right. And if you're not there, and if that's your goal to get a 280, but perhaps you only qualify right now for 200,000, how can we get you to where you want to be? So your income. We're going to, find out what your gross wages are, before taxes, minus any deductions that you have. So your deductions are like credit cards, auto loans, what else, Adrena?
Student loans, potentially, any personal loans that you've received from the bank. It's basically any payments that report to your credit. So no rent, no utilities, nothing like that. Not your automobile insurance, health insurance, none of those, guys. Just things that report to your credit.
That is, and that's a good question, because a lot of people ask, hey, will I pay APS $200 a month? I'm like, no, well, we don't count your APS bill. We're only want to count things that are reported to your credit report. Now, some people do report self-reported debts to the credit report as a way to strengthen your credit report. And that's absolutely fine. Those we will not count against you. If you're reporting your Netflix account, I've seen Netflix accounts being reported. I've seen your cell phone bill being reported as a self-report bill to the credit report. as an option to try to boost your scores.
But do those really boost your scores?
They can, but not all three bureaus. I've only seen them in some circumstances where they're perhaps only doing one bureau, which brings up a good question. When you buy a home and we're looking at your credit report, there are 3 credit reporting agencies. So you're gonna have Experian, right? Experian. You're going to have Equifax, and you're going to have TransUnion. These are your 3 main credit reporting agencies. Now, when you buy a home, we don't use your highest score, and we also don't use your lowest score. We use the middle of the 3 credit reporting agencies to purchase a home. Okay, so if your Experian credit score is 660, okay, and your Equifax, let's just say it's a 665, or I'm sorry, yeah, 665, and let's just say your TransUnion is a 638, okay? In this particular scenario right here, your qualifying score is 660. This right here becomes a score that we're going to look at as your qualifier. So if you were looking for a down payment assistance program, that makes you eligible. Now, that doesn't mean you qualify for the program. It just means that now you're credit at least eligible. The next component is looking at the income. And that's where, bringing in your supporting documentation, like your pay stubs, your W-2s. We usually provide, a list. Depending on how you work, we may provide different options. You may need your W-2s. Perhaps we may not even need your full tax returns. That's a lot of people, Edgar, I haven't filed my taxes, man. Is that going to be a problem? Well, what do you do for a living? Well, I work at a warehouse. And I'm like, you get W-2 there, right? He's like, yeah, I get a W-2. I don't even need your tax return. Just give me a copy of your W-2s and we'll call it a day. Edgar, I make a lot of overtime. Can I use my overtime to qualify? Absolutely, you can use your overtime to qualify, as long as you have a 2-year history of providing overtime, or in certain circumstances, at least a 1-year, 12-month history where we can average your income. That's the very important part. We have to be able to determine your ability to repay that loan, so we have to find a good medium average. If you're self-employed, maybe you're a stylist, you work at a barbershop. Most barbershops are 1099 employees. You're a self-contractor. They're going to give you a 1099 at the end of the year. For that, we will need your full tax returns. We will take a look at your long form, which is your Schedule C, your profit and loss statement, to determine your eligibility on what you can determine as far as ability to purchase. And the biggest one is your bank statements, guys. Every lender is going to ask you for your 2 most recent months of bank statements. And buying a home is a bit of an affair. It's like, you're having an affair with the bank, okay? We need to know everything about you. The more we know, it might feel a little intrusive. The better it is to help you, though. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help you. And the more we know about you, the better we can game plan for that. What do your expenses look like? We've been able to bump Adrena people, into better homes, better programs by simply analyzing their budgets. Hey, man, look, you're spending a lot of money X in here. Let's button this up a little bit. Maybe we can use some of that cash for a better down payment. Maybe you want to go in with your own down payment versus a first-time home buyer program. Why? Maybe your buying power increases $40,000 if you're able to save your own down payment versus using a state-sponsored program. Right now, the interest rates are some of the lowest we've seen ever
in my career.
In my career,
in more than 14 years.
It's absolutely crazy, guys. We're getting quotes in the 2s right now for 30-year loans. I mean, it is just absolutely a great time if you're not a homeowner to be a homeowner, because that 2% rate versus a 4.5%, 5% rate, guys, that's allowing you to purchase an extra, anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 more home.
For the same payment.
For the same payment. Think about it. Rather than you buying a $200,000 home, right now we can give you the same home that's worth maybe $270,000 in a much nicer area, much nicer amenities, for the same payment you would have been paying a $200,000 home.
It's the difference between the pool and no pool, or the house on the nicer side of the street than the one on the not so nice, or that extra bedroom. And one thing I wanted to add about the 1099, you self-employed people, it's also much more important for you to meet with the lender ahead of time, because that Scheduled C is important. And a lot of times you have a lot of write-offs. Like I'm self-employed and I do a 1099, and I have bought several houses. And Edgar will attest to the fact that on the year that I know I'm going to buy or sell real estate, he and I get together in, like October, November, and I'm like, this is what I'm going to make this year. And he tells me step by step, this is how much money you need to show on your taxes so that you're going to qualify for the house that you want. Because when we write off all of our income, that affects our approval. And so if you're planning on buying a home and you are a 1099 employee, come the fall, you need to be meeting with your lender so that you know how much you need to qualify for the home that you want and what your write-offs need to look like or not exceed.
That's right. It's actually 90% of all people who are self-employed are going to use a 2-year average. Very rarely do we get away with a 1-year tax return. So what that means is that we have to average out the previous 2 years for you to qualify. Perhaps, and that's why it's important. You may have to bite the bullet, report a little bit more income so that we can get you that home. Because after you buy your home, you can go back to doing what you were doing. But it's a matter of what we can prove to the investors who are going to lend you the money to buy. We have to go about what the IRS is reporting when you're self-employed. So it's a very important step. And so I urge you guys, as far as step one, Edgar, what do I do when you buy a home? Call me. Our number will be below. You can give us a call. You can send us a private message, a text message. We can do in-person consultations, or if you're comfortable doing something via FaceTime or video through Messenger here on Facebook Live. Feel free to contact us. We gladly would love to sit down with you and go over those finances. We're in the heat of summer now. Who knows when the kids will be back in school? It's a great time to handle those finances, and we're kid friendly. We have families. Bring them to the office. If you need to come in here and you really want to button it down, bring them in here. Our office is welcome and open. We got little toys here that they can play with, and we can handle the some grown-up business. Our job here is to help you. And if you know someone that perhaps could use this message, have them contact us, or call us. Give us their number. We won't say you gave it to us. We'll call them we'll call them and we say, hey, we understand you might need some help on buying a home. We'd absolutely would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, we're definitely on your guys' side, and what your goals and your dreams are is what we want to help you accomplish. And there is no situation that we haven't seen. There's nothing we haven't dealt with. Between the two of us, we have more than several decades of experience in the industry. We are both doing this career full time. Our job is to get you where you want to be. And so definitely, no judgment zone. Everything is confidential, and we will work with you until you're ready. So for some people, that might be you're ready now, and for others, you may need a little bit more, guidance, or you may need some credit work, and there is nothing that we're not willing to help you with. And if you need extensive credit repair, we also have credit repair that is reputable companies that we've used, over and over with different different clients, and they have given results. We definitely never refer people to somebody who we personally wouldn't work with or haven't worked with. And I know that I offer my clients the service that if you need to go through a credit repair company to get your credit on track, and you do that at the closing, I reimburse you for the fee for that credit repair. So it's really nothing but being committed to the process. And I really hope to hear from you guys this next time, so that in July, when we do the next class, if you have questions, we can, get with your questions and get those answered for you. And if you want to meet in person, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to be your partners in real estate for anything you need.
That's absolutely right. We work weekends, guys. We're super flexible. We got offices throughout the valley, from Tempe to Westgate to Goodyear. So we got the valley covered. We'd love to, and again, we can always go virtual. Right now, it seems to be the hot thing with technology, is that we have that capability to always do everything virtual. Our company here, Lending Guys, is 100% paperless. I mean, if you take a really good picture, which most phones now have an excellent camera, just send us your picture of your W-2s, your pay stubs. We'll upload. We can make it work. So it's the beautiful part of being paperless, and continue to use technology to our advantage to facilitate what at some point years behind us was a very burdened process, with everything being old school handwritten. Now we're in a good era that we can make this seamless for you guys. So next topic, guys, we hope to hear from you with some questions out there. As far as what you have, maybe we can go into lending programs. I know a lot of people have, hey, what's the difference between an FHA loan and a conventional? Those are a lot of great topics. What's my minimum down payment required? Is it better to put my own down payment versus using a first-time home buyer programs? Everything's got pros and cons, and we look forward to bringing a continued series for you guys as far as different topics. So if there's something you would like to hear from us, please put it in the comments below. Send us a message. We'd love to put it out there because, again, like Adrena said, what you might be thinking, 10 other people might as well too. So we'd love to educate everybody all at once.
Yep, and we do everything, guys. Condos, single-family residences, new builds. Edgar is a preferred lender for multiple builders in the Valley, so you get all of the incentives. It's always best to have an agent and a lending partner when you're buying a new build to protect your interests, because those builder reps work for the builder. And then also manufactured homes. If you're wanting to get into real estate investing, buy and holds, rentals, we can handle anything and everything. Jumbo loans. There really isn't much we can't do, so we look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys, for your time. Bye.